What's up, everybody? Going to be going over the astrology of the week. What's up? I'm live on Instagram. This is going to be posted later to YouTube. I was showing up a little late. I'm showing up a little late. Welcome, everybody, coming in. I just got going. Showing up a little late today. Because yeah, it's been a crazy day. Okay, let me get going. The moon's in Virgo. Let's see what's up, everybody. So we're going to be going over the astrology the week ahead. I was trying to find how I can increase the quality of the video on Zoom, which is why I'm showing up like 10 minutes late, but I couldn't figure it out. So I'll go back and figure it out because it looks a little grainy when I upload the live to YouTube, but we'll figure that out eventually, okay? As long as it's getting up there, I think that's the most important thing. Today's been a very interesting day. I started off my day at the vet for my brother. His dog is dealing with the case of pancreatitis. I talked about this with Mars and Virgo. I talked about pets. Welcome, everybody coming in. Thank you guys for being here. So we're going to be going over the astrology the week ahead. I'm just giving you guys a little snippet of my morning. I was at the vet all morning with my brother's dog. He has a case of pancreatitis, like I was saying, and I was talking about with Mars and Virgo, pets dealing with health issues, pets dealing with inflammation. What's so interesting about the sign of Virgo is Virgo rules over the pancreas, the upper intestine, the gallbladder, the lower part of the stomach, the midsection that's between our colon and our stomach. That's what Virgo rules over. So, with Mars being in the sign of Virgo, and then the moon hitting Mars last night directly, of course, pets having issues. What's also really interesting is this particular dog, he is an Aries. And so if you count 6 houses away from the sun in Aries, what you get is the sign of Virgo. And the sixth house is the house of health, right? It's also the house of pets. So you can also see when you look at the astrology of your animal, if you happen to have their birthday, you don't even need their birth time. You could read their chart from their moon or from their sun. I use people's sun, or I use an animal sun if I'm going to read their chart without a birth time, and you'll be able to see things happen to them, or you'll be able to kind of understand their chart based off of putting the sun and the moon and the rising. I've had a lot of Western astrologers attack me and jump on me and be like, "Oh, you can't do that. You can't do." Yes, you can. This is actually something that Vedic astrologers do. They especially do it with the moon. It's called a Chandra Lagna chart, where you put the moon on the rising. And you do that when it comes to matters of love and matters of health and matters of family. Or if you want to read someone's mom, you'll put the moon on the rising, make it the first house. But there's some things Western astrologers just don't understand, and they think they got it all figured out. Well, guess what? You don't. Because Eastern Vedic astrologers, they do astrology very differently. Okay. So, all right. Well, how's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? Thank you guys for being here. Um, we have some very interesting astrology for the week to go over. We are in our new moon in Cancer cycle. How's everybody been feeling about the new moon in Cancer? I've been enjoying it. I think the new moon in Cancer is a fresh start and a new beginning for many people, especially for water signs. This new moon in Cancer, you have the new moon trining your ascendant, trining your or in your ascendant, if you're Cancer rising, your fifth house. If you are a well, Pisces rising, and it's in your ninth house if you are a Scorpio rising. So someone said off topic, but are you having a hard time with subscriptions? What do you mean by that? Someone said a lot of anxiety for me. Well, I think that's my love, beloved. Is there even a group chat? Yes, there is a group chat. If you are a subscriber of mine um on Instagram, you can go to my chats. If you go in the middle section, just above my posts, there's all the chats that I have available. And you have to go in there, you have to click on the Cancer season chat and you'll be able to join. Okay. So, all right. Well, let's talk about the astrology of the week. We have what's going on? My computer is like lagging. Hold on, give me a second. It's taking forever to load my notes. We have Mercury in the sign of Leo as of last Thursday. Mercury went into Leo. Um, Mercury went into Leo last Thursday, and Mercury is going to be having an extended stay in the sign of Leo. Why? Because Mercury is going to be going retrograde. So, hold on. Why is my notes not working? Close window. There we go. I have the ingress dates of Mercury and Leo in my notes section, so I just want to bring it up because we have a Mercury retrograde in Leo. So what's up, my love? Welcome. So we have we're kind of like in the Mercury pre-shadow. Loading sticky notes. There it goes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so Mercury goes retrograde in Leo from July 18th to August 10th. So Mercury's having an extended stay in the sign of Leo. He's going to be in Leo for a while. So we got to get used to Mercury in Leo, okay, for the next like I believe it's going to be maybe 6 weeks. And Mercury and Leo, so you know what you really want to focus on with Mercury and Leo is you want to focus on your Leo house because that's where there's going to be a lot of stimulation, a lot of energy. Mercury is going to be making your Leo house very, very busy. Um, and yeah, you know, this can look like when Mercury switches signs, what that can look like for people is like Mercury things shifting or changing in some type of way. So this can be about new job, this can be about applications, this can be about siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, your friends. This can be about schooling, learning, education, right? So if you do have, so take a look at your Leo house, look at it in whole sign. I'm a traditional astrologer, so I do astrology in whole sign. And that's where Mercury is going to be bringing stimulation initially, right? But then what's going to happen with your Leo house? Well, Mercury's going to go retrograde in that house. So he's going to ask you to reorganize that house. He's going to ask you to take a look at it and have a conversation with it and restructure it and clean it up. And, you know, you may have to develop a different relationship with your Leo house. You may have to develop a different routine with it. It may get a little bit more busy or stimulated. It may feel a little bit more chaotic with Mercury in there in general. But what is Mercury retrograde about? It's about reorganization, restructuring, having to rethink, having to revise things, having to review, having to go back to things from the past or things going back to the past, right? Us being brought back to the past with our Mercury ruled houses, our Virgo and our Gemini house, but also with our Leo house, since Mercury is going retrograde in Leo. And the reason why, you know, your Gemini and your Virgo house are also under review is because Mercury rules those houses, right? So you just want to go ahead and think about that. Someone said, so I shouldn't release any projects just yet due to the retrograde. No, I am a strong believer, okay, that we should never let astrology inhibit us or dictate our life or tell us not to do something, okay? We should keep living our life just the way people do that don't do astrology, all right? But if you do release a project with Mercury in Leo, what will the retrograde possibly have you do? Well, let me tell you. You may have to go back and revise or review something. You may have missed the detail of something, so you have to do a little bit of a relaunch, okay? You have to do a little bit of a revision, you know? So if you want to wait until the retrograde is over, that's fine. I think Mercury has a wonderful relationship with the sign of Leo. And let me tell you why, okay? It's because Mercury and the sun, right? Mercury rules Gemini, Virgo, the sun, Leo. They're intimate lovers. They like each other. They're friends, okay? Um, And this is because, even though the sun is a little malefic, this is because the sun and Mercury have a very intimate relationship. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. Okay. So if you do launch a project while Mercury's in Leo before he goes retrograde, what you may have to do is go back and fix something after the fact. You may launch it and something may be like let's say it's a website, because Mercury rules over the internet. Mercury is connected to communication, websites, and technology, right? Let's say you launch a website with Mercury in Leo. Actually, it would actually probably happen when you would launch it, if you launch it during the retrograde. When Mercury goes retrograde, there may be something that you don't like about the website that you go back and fix and update. Or there may be something about the website that's just malfunctioning or not working, and then it gets corrected after the retrograde in some type of way. Okay. A lot of times, what Mercury retrograde does is it has us go back to redo something, to fix something, to revise something, or it creates some kind of delay with something. So we may launch something or start something, but then like there's a delay or a setback with it in some type of way. Okay. I think one of the best things to do during retrogrades is to study how a retrograde interacts with your own life, and to see how a retrograde brings something back from the past. Okay. So we should look into our sun sign that's ruled by Leo. I don't really understand that question. You should look at your Leo house, and you should look at your Gemini and your Virgo house. Your sun sign is going to be ruled by your sun is going to be ruled by whatever planet you have, um whatever planet rules your sun. So if you have a Scorpio sun, then your sun is ruled by Scorpio, it's ruled by Mars. If you have an Aquarius sun, then your sun is ruled by Saturn, because Saturn rules Aquarius. If you have a Virgo sun, then your sun is ruled by Mercury, because you have the sun in a Mercury ruled sign. Okay. So yeah, all right. So with that being said, like I was saying, Mercury has a good relationship with the sign of Leo because Mercury rules two signs, right? Virgo and Gemini. And Virgo is the second house away, or the second sign away from Leo. And then the 11th house, right? 11th house energy is really great. The 11th house is amazing. The 11th sign, 11th house away from Leo is Gemini, right? So in general, what this may mean, the Mercury retrograde and Mercury in Leo for the collective, if we are putting the sign of Leo on the ascendant, okay, then this may be about our money and our finances and our self-worth and our self-esteem and our value and our diet and our, and like the things that we purchase or objects that we own, because Virgo is a second house, which is all the second house. Everything that I just mentioned right now is connected to the second house. And this Mercury retrograde, or this Mercury in Leo, could also be about our friendships, our goals, our dreams, our ambitions, our social circles. It's, because of the 11th house relationship that Gemini has to the sign of Leo. Does that make sense? Are you guys getting this? This is like, you got to open up your mind. And you got to know astrology a little bit to understand what I'm talking about. But what I'm pretty much saying is that Mercury rules the second sign away from Leo and the 11th sign away from Leo. Okay? That's pretty much what I'm saying. And so because of that, this Mercury in Leo and Mercury retrograde in Leo is going to be about second house matters and 11th house matters. Okay? Yes, someone asked about Mercury retrograde being different for people that have it retrograde in their chart. And this is actually something that I can attest to. Welcome everybody coming in. We're talking about Mercury and Leo. We're talking about the Mercury retrograde. Let me see. Hold on. My computer is giving Mercury retrograde now. It's acting a little slow right now. Hold on. So if you have Mercury retrograde, right? This is one of the things that I say. Um, if you have Mercury retrograde, when Mercury goes backward, you go forward. Thank you for buying a badge. If you guys want to support me and you want to buy a badge, I appreciate that. So Mercury is going to be in Leo from June 26th to September 2nd. Um, Let me write that down. Hold on. I need to write that down. Mercury and Leo. So he's gonna be there for a long time, babies. So when you have Mercury retrograde in your chart, a lot of times what you will see, okay, is that when Mercury goes retrograde, because you have natal Mercury retrograde, things go forward for you. You start things, you begin things, you launch things. I cannot tell you how many times I have started a job during a Mercury retrograde, or that I've gotten a job during a Mercury retrograde, or I've moved during a Mercury retrograde. And let me tell you why. It's because Mercury rules my fourth house of home and family. Okay. And I have Mercury retrograde in Scorpio at 3 degrees, conjunct my sun at 4 degrees in Scorpio. And the sun rules my sixth house of jobs. So it is craziness, but I swear, and there will be like, even when I was getting into astrology in like 2019, 2020, I would even time it. I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to start this job during a Mercury retrograde. I don't want to start this job during a Mercury retrograde. And through the interview process and the drug screening and everything, it doesn't matter how much I would try to rush it. It would start during a Mercury retrograde, and that's just the way it was. And I realized it's because I have natal Mercury retrograde in my chart. So if you have a retrograde planet, when that in your chart, a lot of times when that planet goes backward, you go forward. Okay. Things start for you, things launch for you, you begin things. Okay. So you want to pay attention to this if you do have natal Mercury retrograde. It's something that you can actually document or track in your own life. This is the best way to learn astrology. The best way to learn astrology is to see how the planets in action, how retrograde cycles, especially Mercury, because Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. He is the planet that goes retrograde the most. How those impact your life, okay, and see what happens in your life. So it's so interesting, which is something that I was actually talking to my subscriber chat about. Welcome everybody coming in. We're just talking about Mercury and Leo and Mercury retrograde, because Mercury's going to be going retrograde on July 18th, later on at the very end of Cancer season. And I was talking about Mercury going into Leo, but we'll get back to that. But one of the things I was talking about is yesterday when I was shopping, okay, because I have Leo in the sixth house of jobs and coworkers, and and Mercury will bring back things from the past. So guess what? When I was shopping at Ross yesterday, buying out the store, okay, because I found so many things at Ross that I just fell in love with. And the Ross by my house is like amazing. They have like amazing things there. Anyways, I ran into a coworker that I worked with at Chase years ago. So, right, sixth house is coworkers. Mercury pre-shadow on my sixth house in Leo, a coworker from the past, right? So it's really interesting. Also, there was a very significant Mercury retrograde in Capricorn that happened a few years ago, and that was really interesting as well because that is in my 11th house of friends in Capricorn, 11th house of friends in Capricorn. And when Mercury went retrograde in my 11th house of friends, I ran into one of my childhood friends who was a Capricorn, and he was one of my best friends in high school. I ran into him at like a local boba shop over here when I was back here in LA. And this was like a few years ago. This was like a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So this must have been 2 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It was a while ago. But yeah, it's so cool because you can actually track how Mercury brings things back from the past in different ways depending on the house that he's in. Once you learn about the houses, it's really interesting. So Mercury retrograde, sometimes that can look like going back to an old job. Sometimes that can look like going back to old habits or old behaviors. Sometimes that can look like restructuring your daily routine in some type of way. Sometimes Mercury retrograde, depending on the house, it could be about just like it's a revision. It's a reconnection. Sometimes it's a relapse. Okay. For some people, yes, Mercury retrograde, sixth house, 12th house, eighth, Mercury retrograde in eighth house, you're going back to bad habits or bad behaviors. Sometimes Mercury retrograde is not always great, right? Sometimes if you're having a Mercury retrograde in a difficult house, you can go back to something that you shouldn't go back to, right? Mercury retrograde in the seventh, you go back to an old partner that is like not healthy, not good for you, and you got to learn the second time, right? So you just something to keep in mind. Someone said they're going to court for child support. What's your rising, beloved? So yeah, um, Mercury retrograde in Leo. What is Leo, right? Oh my God, this makes so much sense. Thank you for dropping that. I'm not happy that you're going back to child support, but you know, going to court is never fun. Having to deal with Saturn things is never fun. But Leo is a sign of children, right? Leo is a sign of children. So they're going for your fourth house. Look at this. You have Mercury retrograde in your fourth house. Um, you have Scorpio in this. Oh, that makes sense because you have Mars in your fifth. So you're gonna fight for your kids. So yeah, if you know Mercury retrograde is, you know, that's your fifth house. You're a Taurus, your second house for money. You're going for money, right? Taurus rising. They have Gemini ruling the second. Mercury retrograde, right? Gemini rules their second house, so Mercury rules their second house, and Mercury rules their fifth house. Gemini rules the second for Taurus rising, right? Virgo rules the fifth house of children, right? Mercury retrograde is happening in your fourth house of home and family and like stability and structure, right? So, and then Mars is in Virgo. So you're, you know, it's Mars in the fifth. You're having to fight for your money and fight for your kid and stuff, and not how that's showing up. But yeah, so Leo rules children. Leo rules fun, celebrations, parties. So with Mercury retrograde, Mercury going retrograde on July 18th, and we'll talk about this again as we get closer. I'll do a live specifically on Mercury retrograde in Leo. What did I put here? Oh my God. Um, you can have parties or celebrations that you thought were gonna happen, like a wedding or something, and then the Mercury retrograde could cancel it or could delay it. Okay. So I want you guys to remember Leo is a sign of fun. Leo is a sign of parties and celebrations. Leo is also connected to athletics and sports. Leo is also connected to celebrities and people that are in the limelight. Leo is also connected to baby daddies. Okay. Leo is the children of your father or the father of your children. I am already doing what's on the rising right now. I'm already flipping around my words. Let's see if we have Gemini or Virgo on the rising or something. Let's see. But yeah, Leo is the father of your children. Okay, Leo are the daddies. Okay, they're your. Oh, we got Scorpio on the rising with Lilith. Oh Lord Jesus, look at that. Is that me? Am I Lilith and Scorpio on the rising right now? That's hilarious, actually. I'm a Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio Sun, Mercury, Venus, and I'm a Scorpio stellium. So it's so funny that Scorpio's on the rising and then I decided to go live now. That makes so much sense. It's so appropriate. But yeah, Leo is our presidents, our leaders, you know, celebrities. Leo is connected to people that are in the limelight. Leo's are children. Leo is fun, joy, celebration, partying. Leo's also the sign of lovers, or it's connected to lovers in romance. It's also connected to like our soul's purpose, like our vision, like our direction, our ego, our identity, our personality, our self-expression, our creativity. These are all Leo things. And so with Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Leo, or Mercury in Leo, there's a focus on that. When Mercury's in Leo, he is loud. I don't know if I was talking about this in last week's live, maybe I was, but we're definitely going to talk about it in this week's live because Mercury's now in Leo. People that have Mercury in Leo or Mercury aspecting the sun, okay, Mercury conjunct the sun, they are loud, they're obnoxious. They are stubborn. They're single-minded. They cannot see outside of themselves. They have a one-track mind a lot of times. They can be very confident and very bold and very outrageous. Even if they're wrong, they don't care. They're still going to be like, no, I am right, right? Because Leo's a fixed sign, right? So the stubborn signs, especially when Mercury's in these signs that don't want to change their mind and they have a single perspective or single way of seeing things, or they'll like be attached to a certain way of seeing things or doing things, are Mercury in fixed signs: Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. Okay, very hard to change their mind. It takes them a while to change their mind. So with Mercury and Leo, we're feeling very bold, we're feeling very courageous, we're feeling very expressive, we're feeling very creative, We're feeling like the need to reconnect our inner child. We may go back to hobbies or behaviors or habits that are fun, because Leo's a sign of fun, right? So if you have Mercury in Leo, or with Mercury in Leo now, but if you have natal Mercury in Leo as well, these are people that love to do fun things. They love partying, they love celebrating, they love expressing themselves, right? They love like painting and drawing, and they love dancing, and they just love doing. They're like, it's a very active place for Mercury. Mercury actually does pretty well in the sign of Leo. And we love him there for the summer, or for that he's having an extended stay there. I think things may, and what's also, I think what we may also see when it comes to like leaders and authority figures and presidents and like government people, and even us as parents, especially fathers, um CEOs, because those are all connected to the sign of Leo. The Mercury retrograde, they may go back on things. They may decide to reverse certain choices or certain decisions that they made, or there's certain things that they may review or revise or revisit, or they may like, make an unexpected shift or change in some type of way. So, but I will tell you, Mercury retrograde in Leo can definitely bring back a lover from the past. It can reconnect a child to their father. If you've been waiting, and let's say you're a mom and you had a falling out with the father and your child hasn't talked to their father, well, Mercury retrograde can bring back their dad in some type of way, to where he wants to have a conversation with them, or you reconnect with him in some type of way, or something involving him comes back. Okay. So just keep that in mind with Mercury retrograde in Leo. But Mercury in Leo, it's pretty fun. It's very expressive, it's very creative. You may be feeling more inspired or more motivated to create, to write, to express yourself, to dance, to go outside and play, with Mercury transiting the sign of Leo. He's gonna have an extended stay in Leo because he's gonna retrograde, right? So Mercury is gonna be in Leo from June 26th until September 2nd. And he's going to retrograde from July 18th to August 10th. Yeah, because he goes, so during his retrograde, right, he goes all the way back to the beginning of the sign of Leo, and then he has to like retrace all of his steps. So he's gonna be in Leo until September 2nd. So what? That's like July, that's like June, July, August, pretty much 2 months. Okay. So just something to keep in mind. Okay. We'll talk more about that though, as we get closer to Mercury and Leo, or to Mercury's retrograde in Leo. We'll talk about the Mercury retrograde again. I'm probably going into a little bit more detail about it, but I feel like we had a pretty good conversation about it, today thus far. All right, so we are 30 minutes in. Holy moly. Okay. Well, let's start talking about the astrology of the week. What else do we got going on? We have Mars currently in Virgo. He's coming in a conjunct. He's coming closer to the South Node. So I've been talking about Mars in Virgo. I posted about it, I think, last week or the week before. Mars in Virgo has been about irritation when it comes to Virgo things. So challenges with low disk space. Okay. Challenges with jobs, challenges with our pets, challenges with our habits and our routines. We're feeling very inspired, very passionate. Some of us may be feeling a little bit more sexually active with Mars and Virgo. Okay. Especially because Mars and the sun have been moving in a sextile. So the sun, which is our sense of aliveness and our sense of fun, or things that we enjoy or we like to have fun, it's been in this sextile. I want you guys to listen to that word, sextile. It's a Venus aspect. Okay. It's been in a sextile with Mars, even with the new moon. The new moon was sextile Mars. So you may be feeling more desire driven right now. You may be feeling more sexy, more spicy. You may be feeling like, that you want to go back to the gym, or you may have started to work out and you may have gone back to the gym already with Mars's ingress into Virgo, especially as the sun and Jupiter, right, have been sextiling that Mars, and we have that new moon in Cancer that sextiled Mars. So if you're feeling very inspired, very motivated, very energetic, especially because Sun Jupiter are in a sextile with Mars. Sun is kind of like separating from that sextile with Mars, but they're still in that energy. Um, you want to do something also if you're just feeling more energized in general, do something productive with that energy, like clean your house, organize things, clean the bathroom, clean the closet, get rid of things, do like a nice summer cleaning. Organize your workspace, your desk space if you do work from home or even if you have a job. Like this is an energy that's really nice to like catch up on things, like catch up on stuff. We have a very interesting Venus Uranus conjunction coming up this week. I believe it's this week. Let me see, hold on. Because I want to talk about that. And we are in our new moon in Cancer cycle, squaring that, so it's a little bit of a mixed bag with the new moon. Let me see if we have, oh, we do have Venus Uranus conjunct on July 3rd. We have Venus Uranus conjunction, and then Uranus and Venus going into Gemini. Oh my, y'all thought, who is flirty season, baby? Venus in Gemini is one of the most flirty places for Venus. She just wants to have fun and play when she's in the sign of Gemini. Venus conjunct Uranus. Hold on the July 3rd. Oh Lordy. And then Venus moves into Gemini. Oh, Venus Uranus come into conjunction on July 3rd, and then by July 4th, Venus is in Gemini. I think on July 4th. Let me see. Hold on. Let me go by hours here just so I can break it down. Break it down. Break it down. Break it down. First house Mars, very energetic, clean, dance, and yeah, more desire driven. Oh, you're a Virgo rising? Are you a Virgo rising? Kina? Hold on, let me see. Girls just wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have. That's all they really want. Yeah, Venus goes in Gemini on July 4th. Oh my goodness. What a spicy 4th of July we have. That's going to be a very flirtatious day. Venus in Gemini. Some people are breaking up on the 4th of July. Make up to break up. That's all we do. First you love me, then you hate me. That's a game for fools. That is such a Venus Uranus conjunction song, okay? Whenever I think of people that have Venus Uranus in aspect in their natal chart, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get myself a little cutie. I'm craving some sugar. Talking about Venus, and all of a sudden I have a sugar craving. That's hilarious. On a Venus day at that. I know it's Friday, the 4th of July. Venus goes in Gemini. So Venus Uranus is very interesting because Venus Uranus aspect, people that have that in their chart, it's like love at first sight. Like people that have Venus Uranus, they'll see somebody on the dance floor and they'll be like out in the world and it'll be a total stranger. And they'll be like, that person is my soulmate. And they'll meet someone and they'll be so excited and so captivated. And they'll move extremely fast. They'll go through a relationship in a week. And then by the end of the week, they're like, oh, that's not my person. Venus Uranus is a very it's when it happens in the sky, it's a very love at first sight aspect. So I'm expecting people on the 4th of July, this Friday, as Venus on Thursday going to Friday into the weekend. We're gonna be meeting like a lot of new people. There may be like a love at first sight experience that you have where you meet someone that's a stranger. And you're like, oh my God, all you twin flame girlies. Oh my God, this is my soulmate. This is my twin flame. How many twin flame girlies do we have in the Instagram chat? It's my twin flame. Hmm? How many twin flame girlies do we have in the chat? He's my twin flame. Hmm? He's my soulmate. He's married with 5 kids, and he said he was going to go through divorce, but he hasn't filed the paperwork yet. I don't know where he lives, but I just know that he's my twin flame. He doesn't have his papers. He's in prison right now, but he said he's getting out in a year or two. So I've been putting money on his books, but I know that he's my twin flame. Who am I reading right now? Let me know. Who am I reading? Who am I reading right now? I'm reading somebody. I'm just waiting for him to leave her, right? Yeah, he's my boss at my job, but I know he loves me, even though he's been with his wife for 10 years and he's got 3 kids. They're about to graduate high school, but I know he's my twin flame. Your well is dry. The tarot lady said so. So Venus Uranus conjunction on Thursday, the 3rd. On Friday, July 4th, Venus goes into Gemini. Okay. So Venus Uranus is a very unstable energy for relationships. All right. If you're in a committed relationship, I want you to watch out for the drama. All right. But honestly, I love Venus in Taurus. Venus is in her rulership. Um, Venus is gonna be making Venus, I don't know. Uranus is about to go into Gemini as well. Uranus goes into Gemini in a few days. Uranus is going into Gemini on July 7th, 4 or 5. So 3 days later, Uranus is going into Gemini on July 7th, my loves. That's Monday. That's Monday next week. We have Uranus and Gemini, and all the pieces are in play for the revolution. But if you are a fixed sign, or if you have anything at the last degrees, if you still been get hit by Uranus and you're a fixed sign, if you have anything at the last degrees of Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, or Leo, and Uranus is like squaring you, sitting in conjunction with you or opposing you, this Venus Uranus opposition could be very dramatic. It doesn't have to be bad though. This could also be you meeting someone that you love dearly. This could be you meeting a soulmate randomly. Especially because why? This is a new moon in Cancer cycle that we were in. And Venus was in the 11th house away from the new moon. Venus was actually in a very good house from the new moon. She wasn't in the 12th house. She wasn't in the 8th house of the new moon. She was in the 11th. This is about friends, socializing, hanging out with people. It's about meeting new people, new lovers, new friends. So I'm kind of liking that the Venus Uranus conjunction is happening in a new moon in Cancer cycle that had Venus in the 11th house from it. And I think it's about meeting new people. I think it's about meeting new lovers, meeting new friends, and like love at first sight energy. You know, this did not just start. We started this about 40 minutes ago now. 3:10 p.m. Pacific time. It's now 3:50. So I'm liking Venus Uranus conjunct, okay? But what is Uranus about? Uranus is the planet of emancipation. It's the planet of freedom. It's the planet of rebellion. It's the planet of autonomy and authenticity, right? Mars is too, but you know, autonomy is a Mars thing. Authenticity is a Uranus thing, but I like to think of Uranus as being very rebellious and like it's like don't tell me what to do energy. It's like I'm my own authority, I'm my own boss. And Uranus likes space. Uranus likes freedom. This is one of the things that we see with Aquarius as well. This is why Aquarius will get close to you, they just won't get too close. It takes some time because Aquarius, they need space, and that's a Uranian thing. Uranus, he doesn't like to be bound. He doesn't like to be imprisoned, right? He doesn't like to be, you know, he gets claustrophobic. Okay. And so if we think of Venus, Uranus, Venus, she likes security, she likes commitment, she likes to bind things up. She likes to, she wants to get married. She's like, I want to put a contract on this. I want to seal the deal. I want to chain you to my wrist, like let's be conjoined at the hips. That's like a Venus thing, right? Um, Venus, she likes commitment. She likes security. She likes structure. She likes loyalty. She likes boundaries in relationships, right? Um, Venus likes confinement. Okay? Venus likes confinement. And Uranus likes freedom and space. Okay? Uranus likes liberation. So I think that their energies conflict in a lot of different ways. We just want to think about that with Venus Uranus coming into conjunction. Okay. But if you're single, ready to mingle, then Venus Uranus, Thursday, Friday, you're going to a family barbecue, you're going to a party, you're going to be out for the weekend for 4th of July. Pay attention to who you meet. You can meet someone that could change your life. You can meet someone that's very sweet, very kind. You never know. It might be your twin flame. Might your soulmate. You might your soulmate. Okay. Especially if you're earth sign or water sign. You never know. You never know. You can meet, Uranus is like meeting people online. Uranus is meeting people in weird, strange ways. Uranus is strangers. Okay. You can meet them at a restaurant. Venus, Uranus, Taurus. Taurus is food. Taurus is restaurants. Taurus is the barbecue. Taurus is the park. Taurus is when you're out hiking, right? Um, Taurus is the family gathering. Okay. So you never know who you can meet there. Just be open. All right. So Venus goes into Gemini on July 4th. And she's gonna be there for like I think 3 weeks. Let's see, hold on. Venus and Gemini. And this brings a shiftiness to our values. We're gonna feel it's a very flirtatious place for Venus and Gemini. She just kind of wants to have fun. She kind of wants to party. She's not really interested in like, you know, she's gonna be there until July 30th. She's not really interested in like, she just wants to kind of meet people and talk and socialize. It's not a trend. For some people, it may be a transit about commitment and solidifying things. But Venus, she will sextile Saturn as soon as she goes into Gemini. So I think that aspect with Venus sextile Saturn, that can look like us getting into committed relationship. We're committing because she's going to sextile Saturn, Neptune. She's also going to trine Pluto. So this could be about meeting somebody online, especially Venus going into Gemini throughout the weekend and next week. as she's moving in that beautiful trine with Pluto and she's sextiling Saturn. This can be about meeting someone on the internet, online, meeting someone through a friend, getting introduced to somebody, but it's really giving meeting a stranger. I cannot reinforce this enough, okay? Venus is ingress into Gemini right as she hits a conjunction with Uranus and separates. It's really, really giving meeting a stranger or someone that you don't know, okay? Or meeting someone in an unexpected random way, all right? So I like this energy, especially for us singles. I think it's a vibe. Okay, so Venus goes into Gemini on July 4th. Venus Uranus conjunct on July 3rd. All right. All right, let's talk about the moon now. So the moon, the reason why I like to focus on the moon in the week and during the week ahead is because the moon makes things happen. I want you guys to understand this. I'm gonna go wash my hands really quick. In traditional astrology, they think of the moon as a satellite. So the moon, what the moon does is the moon gathers the energetic rays from the other planets, and the moon is known to project the energies from the other planets as she's going around the Earth. And she gathers the energy from other planets, and then she projects them down onto Earth. Right? The moon is the closest celestial body to Earth. She's quite literally like the closest to us. Like her proximity to Earth is so strong that she pulls on the water, right? She's the one that makes she makes the tides ebb and flow, right? This is why the moon is connected to the oceans, and this is why the moon rules the sign of Cancer, right? And the moon affects women's bodies, quite literally, right? Women will start their periods, and the periods are linked up to the lunar cycle. Okay, some women they have a period during a full moon. Some women have a period during a new moon, right? So the moon is a very powerful, very strong planet. And she has a lot to do with how the outer planets that are farther, right, from us, she gathers their energy and she projects it on Earth. That's what they say in traditional astrology. So this is why as the moon is going around the wheel, the zodiac wheel, she changes signs every 2.5 days. Things activate, things happen, right? She gathers the energy and she throws it on Earth like that, like a satellite. Okay. So the reason why I like to focus on the moon every week is because we will literally see energetic shifts happen based on where the moon is at that day, right? Because she's the fastest moving celestial body. She triggers things. She makes things happen. And even if you're looking at a solar return chart, if you're looking at your lunar return chart, your monthly, if you're looking at an annual solar return chart, if you're looking at a monthly return chart, you're going to focus on the moon every time. The luminaries, the sun and the moon are so important, but the moon is very, very important. Okay. So let's talk about where the moon is at today. The moon is in the sign of Virgo, and welcome everybody coming in. Thank you for being here. If you guys want to buy a badge to support me, no harm, no foul, no pressure, but I appreciate it. I'll be telling you all about it when I meet him. I'm positive I'm meeting my man this week. Oh, I love that for you. Let us know if you meet him. Okay. You know what song just came to me? Tell me, have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her? Have you seen her? You guys know this song? Who's? I need a man that knows the classics. I need a man that knows the classics. I need a man that knows this music. If he doesn't know this music, I don't want him. Take them back, God. I don't want them. Get them away from me.
1 month ago today, I was happy as a lark. Now I go for walks, to the movies, maybe to the park. I have a seat on the same old bench to watch the children play. You know, tomorrow is their future. But for me,
It's just another day.
They all gather around me.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why your comment there brought that song up to me. My mind is like a stereo, so you know. But we're not. I don't want to go ahead and get my. I don't want to get copyright infringement, so we got to cut it off there. But it's so crazy. Life is crazy, I'm telling you. There's such good music. We need to go back to the good old days. What happened to those good old tunes when men used to just sing their hearts out, you know? We miss that. I miss those days. I miss those days. Okay. So we start off today with the moon in Virgo, conjunct the south node. The moon was separating from Mars last night, and we're feeling very productive. We're feeling very inspired today, tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow midday, if I'm looking at it 4 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, July 1st. The moon goes into Libra. This is a very important Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The moon in Libra is very, very important. Men don't cry outside with the boom boxes no more. I know they need to be, huh? We need those hands and knees, getting on hands and knees men back. Where are they? Where are they all at? We need those men back. So the moon's gonna be in Libra. The first, second, and third. Which is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And the moon goes into Scorpio on Friday. All right. So why is the moon in Libra important? Because this is the waxing square, okay, from our new moon. So it is our first quarter moon from the new moon. So the moon in Libra, especially as the moon enters the first degrees of Libra on Tuesday, tomorrow, very important because it's squaring our new moon in Cancer cycle, or our new moon in Cancer, and it's the halfway point between our new moon and our full moon in Capricorn, and this is a cardinal sign activation. If you are a Capricorn, a Cancer, a Libra, okay, or an Aries, I really want you to pay attention to what is shifting and changing in your life. You have a few things going to work on you now. You have Jupiter going to work on you. You have this Saturn going to work on you. And this is the first lunation, right? This new moon in Cancer we just had last week. It's the first lunation. It's the first lunar event, okay? New moon, full moon, with Jupiter in it's the first cardinal lunar event is what I meant to say. Let me specify that. It's not our first lunar event, but it's our first lunar event in a cardinal sign. Cancer is a cardinal sign with Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn in Aries. So I really feel this is something that's been coming to me so deeply, and I've been seeing it also in a lot of in the lives of my clients. That new narratives and new stories and new timelines are like beginning and starting for people that have cardinal placements. And this doesn't have to be just your sun, moon, and rising. This can be you have a Mars in a cardinal sign. This could be you have a Venus in a cardinal sign. This could be you have Mercury in a cardinal sign. And there's something around what Mars means in your chart, the houses that Mars rules, the house that Mars is placed in. There's something about, the house is ruled by Venus in your chart, the house that Venus is in your chart. There's something about Mercury, the Mercury ruled house in your chart. You have Mercury in a cardinal sign, right? The house that Mercury is located in your chart that is trying to start or begin or like, be birthed. But there's also could be something that is ending or something that is coming to completion or closure or something that's coming to culmination, or something that's trying to be birthed or start, but it's like a rough patch. There's like delays and setbacks with it. Why? Because the new moon in Cancer was squaring Saturn and Neptune in Aries. The Neptune element, Saturn on Neptune, right? This can be about blurred boundaries and confusions and fallouts and false promises and delusions and scams and deceptions. And we thought, we were going to be buying a house, and it turns out that we got like the house is not even real. It's a scam. It was like not even like, it was on Craigslist or something. And guess what? You go ahead and make the payment or whatever. You sent the payment to someone that was totally not real, you know? They scammed you, right? The property already belongs to somebody. Oh, woe is me, right? Something like that. So the Neptune aspect, the Neptune Saturn conjunction, and the new moon, even though we had this beautiful sun, moon, Jupiter, oh my gosh, moon in her rulership, Jupiter exalted in Cancer, this beautiful new moon that's like, let's birth something new, let's start something new, let's launch ourselves in a new direction, let's create something new. There's that square to Saturn Neptune that's making things confusing, that's making things hard or difficult. It's messing with the timing in some type of way. It's like it eventually will be, but it's just not now. We got to like push through some kind of challenge, push through some kind of hardship, push through some kind of veiled misperception of something. Maybe there's a misunderstanding. Maybe there's a lack of boundaries with something, right? Neptune, Saturn is boundaries. Neptune is dissolving the boundaries, making it confusing. There's like some kind of wasting away. There's something that's like not clear, Neptune, right? So we just want to keep that in mind, especially if you're a cardinal energy, if you're a cardinal sign, if you have your sun, moon, or rising in a cardinal sign, or if you have any other planets in cardinal, especially anything at the beginning degrees of cardinal sign. There's something that is like not quite ready, not quite ripe. There's something that is not quite clear. There's something that is just a little hard, a little difficult, maybe. So trust in divine timing. Do not rush. That's the best thing the best advice I can give you. Also do your due diligence with Neptune being so active in the sky. Saturn, Neptune together, and we have the North Node in Pisces. We have the nodes in Pisces and Virgo. Pisces is also making things kind of confusing, right? Like we had Saturn's going to go back into Pisces and retrograde back into Pisces in September. Like things are just there. I don't know. There's still some fog in the air. There's still some confusion. We don't know where we're quite landing yet. Like, we're still feeling a little indecisive in some type of way. I don't know. Things are just a little foggy, a little unclear. So I think the best thing that you can do, if you're feeling this, if what I'm saying right now is resonating with you, is take a step back, breathe, be patient, wait, peer through the fog, do your homework, do your research, get all the nitty gritty details together, read through the fine print, okay? Do not rush through anything. This is one of the things that I always see with cardinal energy. Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, Aries. They rush. I want it now. I want it now. I want it now. Relax, babes. You don't even know if the man is divorced yet. Relax, babes. You haven't even met his parents. Okay? He may even have kids you don't know. Slow down. You guys like how I do that? I always throw those little one-liners at you. You guys aren't ready for them. I catch you off guard, right? Slow down. Okay? Let time work in your favor. Do your homework, do your research, do your due diligence. Go ahead and get the police report on him. Okay? Get the private investigator on him. Okay? Go to, what is it, whitepages.com. Go pull up that criminal history. You never know. He may have changed his name. Go pull up the name change documents in the courts. Okay. You never know. Hey, these days, listen, people are working hard to scam. All right. People are just not who they say they are. Let me tell you, when times are rough, Okay. People really be doing the most. Okay. When people are in survival mode, they do the craziest things. All right. And listen, me being a reader, me doing readings for people, like I do so many readings. I've heard some crazy ish. Like I like that. I've just been like on the other side of the screen. My clients, I'm just like, he did what, girl? He did, and they did what? And then what happened? Shocked. Lord. Okay? Just totally like, cause I'm just like, how? What? He did what? Seriously. Okay. So with that, keeping that in mind, before you get too entangled and too involved, or before you try to push or try for something, you always just want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. You always want to make sure that you are prepared. You want to make sure that have everything is very clear, everything is very out in the open, that you've done your research, you've done your homework. I think it's so important so that you don't get caught off guard, because Saturn, he wants us to wait. Saturn wants us to get the foundation and the structure together. Saturn wants us to be realistic and practical. Saturn also wants us to be conservative. I think this is one of the things that's when you have Jupiter and Saturn in a square with each other, right? And people, you may have this natally. You may have this in your chart. You can have Saturn opposite Jupiter. You can have Saturn square Jupiter in your natal chart, right? If you have this may resonate with you. Jupiter is like, oh, let's go. Let's expand. Let's grow. Let's take a risk. Let's take chances. And Saturn's like, no, let's wait. Let's be conservative. Let's be patient. Like, let's be risk averse, right? Where Jupiter is a risk taker. And this is why when you have Jupiter and Saturn in a harsh aspect, like a opposition or a square, especially maybe even a conjunction, um, you feel this like this constant tension between like contraction and expansion. Like Jupiter makes you feel fear or Jupiter makes you feel excitement and ambitious, and like you want to like just take risks and you want to travel the world, and then Saturn inhibits him. Saturn is like, no, wait, there's something bad could happen. You never know. You may not have enough money. You may not have enough resources. You may take a loss. It may not be the right time. Like Saturn is pulling back on Jupiter's expansion and growth and his optimism and his joy, right? So this is and we have this energy in the sky right now with Saturn square Jupiter. Jupiter is like, oh, let's go, let's expand with this new moon in Cancer, right? Like, let's go, let's expand, let's take a risk, let's travel, like, let's reach for more, let's be ambitious, let's launch for something, let's get a new job, let's live the dream. And then Saturn's like, wait, are you sure? Are you sure? Right? And many times, Saturn, right? It's about moving through the fear, moving through the hesitation, moving through the anxiety and the paranoia and this possibility of like failure or that's not going to work out. Because the thing that Saturn does, right? Saturn makes us second guess things, and he makes us take a safe, conservative approach so that we avoid risk and that we get guaranteed outcomes. But Saturn's also a beautiful energy because Saturn also keeps us safe. Sometimes it's a delay. Sometimes it's a setback. Sometimes it's the conservative approach that actually keeps us safe or keeps us secure, or that helps us avoid a loss from taking a risk or taking a chance. Because Jupiter energy is like, let's gamble. Let's go to Vegas and let's gamble, right? But then what happens? You press your luck and you lose it all. Where Saturn, you'll see that people that have a lot of Capricorn and Aquarius in their chart, like I'm talking for myself because I have a moon in Capricorn, I'm not gambling. I'm not a gambler. Do not ask me to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't believe in gambling. Okay. It's not because even though I'm a Jupiterian person, I understand Saturn's energy. Saturn wants to keep us safe and he wants us to build things nice and slow. And he's a conservative energy. He's risk averse. He's not going to try it. He's not going to like, oh, let me go ahead and invest in all these businesses and see how much money I can make and see how quick I can make it. No, Saturn is like, no, we're going to work hard. We're going to work slow. We're going to build it over time, right? That's what Saturn's energy is, right? And you'll see this a lot with earth signs too. Earth signs are really like this. Earth signs are really like this. And also you'll see, ironically, air signs are like this too. because why? Saturn is one of the triplicity rulers of the air signs. Saturn rules Aquarius. So you'll see, I think Gemini is the most like, oh, let's go have fun. But Libra and Aquarius actually tend to be a little bit more conservative when it comes to money and spending and finances. You will not see, like, very rarely will you see Libra energy at the casino gambling. No, they're like, they understand, like, they're like, I have an expensive life and I gotta budget. I gotta be responsible. Okay. Things like that. So I think it's just something to think about with this energy in the sky with Saturn square Jupiter is, Jupiter wants us to take a risk and wants us to launch something and wants us to expand and wants us to move forward. But Saturn is like, wait a minute, is it the right decision? Right? Is this the safe approach? Right? But Saturn could also be, false paranoia or fear that is delusional because he's conjunct Neptune. So this is where discernment comes in, right? If the universe and spirit is telling you it's not the right time, just wait, then that's one thing. But if you're just like paranoid and afraid and scared and you're letting fear-based thinking get to you and hold you back, even though it is the right time, you got to be able to discern that within you. And I think this is why intuition is so important, because when we have aspects in the sky like this, where Saturn is squaring Jupiter, right, in the sky, right, the fear and the hesitation could just be fear. It could be an unrealistic or delusional fear, right? Where Jupiter's like, let's go, let's make it happen. And maybe that Jupiter Saturn square is about just pushing through that. But what I will tell you, okay, if you guys are feeling this, and I think I spoke about this maybe last week or a week before, um, Saturn is going to go back into Pisces and he's going to make a trine with Jupiter in October in Libra during Libra season. So if you want to wait, and if you want where both Saturn and Jupiter are in a better relationship with each other, and they're actually supporting each other, and I think that cardinal season, Libra season, it'll be more clear. It'll be a clearer time energetically. If you want to wait until then, just wait until then. Okay, it's what, 3 months away. What is 3 months, right? But if you're feeling like, oh, I must go now, then go now. But Jupiter and Saturn are going to be in a beautiful trine. Saturn's going to go back into Pisces, and he's going to be trining Jupiter in Cancer around Libra season. And I think those cardinal seasons are going to be so much more clear, especially because we have Saturn and Jupiter in a good relationship with each other, where they're going to be in a trine. So if you want to just be patient and wait, just be patient and wait. Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because we do have that. We have that. The reason why I brought this up, let me tell you, why did I bring this up? Let me bring it back to the moon in Libra. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Okay, so the moon goes into Libra tomorrow. The moon's going to be in Libra on the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd. And the moon goes into Scorpio on the 4th of July. Okay. The reason why I brought this up is because the moon in Libra is the first quarter moon, is the waxing square from our new moon in Cancer. So the moon in Libra transit Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of this week is a karmic activation, is a lunar activation of our new moon in Cancer. And what the new moon in Cancer is trying to expand, is trying to grow, is trying to bring into our life. Because why? It was a new moon with the moon in her rulership and Jupiter exalted, and they were all in a conjunction, right? But then that Saturn, right? It's interesting because as the moon goes into Libra on Tuesday, it opposes Saturn and Neptune in Aries, right? And then going into Wednesday, the moon is actually going to be squaring the sun, right? So right as the moon goes into Libra tomorrow, the moon opposes Saturn and Neptune, right? So that could be that moment of like, that could be that delay, that setback, that fear, that anxiety, that paranoia, that deception that we experience, right? But then as the moon continues to move forward, it actually will be squaring Jupiter around the same time, because Jupiter's at 5 and Saturn and Neptune are at 1 and 2 degrees. But then later on in the day, the moon's going to square the sun. So I really do feel that going into Wednesday, actually. Hold on. Let me go by 12 hours here. Going into Wednesday. When's the moon going to go into Libra? Hold on. Am I tripping? Am I giving you guys the wrong days? Give me a second. Hold on. Let me look at the time. I'm looking at the chart in Placidus. Let's see. Oh, okay. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. So the moon's actually gonna be wrapping up in Virgo tomorrow. So the moon goes into Libra at Tuesday, yeah, Tuesday, but Tuesday night. So this is Wednesday. Okay. So the busy day, the waxing square day is Wednesday, not tomorrow. Okay. Can't I wanted to correct that. So Wednesday is gonna be a very busy day. All right. It's gonna be a very whatever the new moon in Cancer means, especially if you're being aspected by the new moon, if you have anything at the early degrees of a cardinal sign, Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, Libra. Wednesday could be a very, very important day for you. It doesn't have to manifest materially in your external experience of your life, but this could be things that you feel, things that you are going through internally, thoughts that you have, visions that you have, dreams that you have, these feelings that you have. Something could come to you around like, okay, this is where I want to expand. This is where I want to grow in my life. This is where I want to make a change in some type of way. Okay. So I want you to pay attention to that. All right. Because I really do believe that this new moon in Cancer, this new moon in Cancer cycle that we're in, that the new moon that happened last week, I really do feel like this is like it's trying to start new narratives and new timelines for cardinal people. I really feel this so deeply. Okay. All right, so let's keep going. So I want to talk a little bit about Tuesday, just a little bit. I want to talk about Tuesday. I want to talk about tomorrow. Tomorrow could be a little difficult, a little hard. We can feel a little energetically drained as the moon goes over the south node. Okay. The moon going over the south node opens us up to karmic events that where it's like things get taken or things get released or things get purged in some type of way. Or we can have like, divine moments of realization, of epiphany. We may be feeling more spiritual, more intuitive tomorrow on Tuesday as the moon is going over the south node. We can also there could be karmic fated events. Okay, that's the nodes for you, right? The nodes are connected to karma and fate and destiny. And the south side of the moon, the south side of the nodes is the more challenging side of the nodes. Okay, it's loss, it's weakness, it's infection, it's illness, it's disease, it's the cosmic funnel of energy that goes outwards. Okay, the north node where Pisces is at, or the north node's at Pisces right now, is where energy is being stimulated, where things are coming in, where things are meeting the material world. It's an amplification of energy, where the south node is a decrease or releasing of energy. Okay. Just want you guys to think about that. All right. So, all right. So Wednesday, moon opposes Saturn, Neptune. That could be a little confusing. We can be a little confused. We can experience a setback or a delay. There could be a cancellation. There could be some kind of hardship. Or we could just be feeling sad. Moon opposite Saturn is sadness sometimes. Okay. Or frustration, irritation. We can also experience it's moon in Libra opposite Saturn and Aries. So, this is going to be about relationships. Saturn and Aries, I'm going to tell you something. If you have Saturn and Aries natally, if you have Saturn in Libra, if you have Saturn in Capricorn, Cancer, okay? If you have a cardinal Saturn, Saturn in Aries is going to bring up relationship issues in your life over the next 2.5 years. I'm going to tell you this right now. All right. You're either going to meet someone, you're going to commit, you're going to go deeper, you're going to lock it down, put a ring on it, Saturn, the ring planet. Okay. Or you're going to be filing for paperwork and going through divorce or separation, or you're going to be separating from somebody or letting somebody go. And it's probably going to involve the court, the legal system, because that's what Saturn's connected to. Okay. It's the reason why Saturn exalts in the sign of Libra. So, if you're a Libra person, Saturn opposing Libra stuff, I want you to think about this over the next 2.5 years. You're probably going to see a preview of it in the next 3 months, but you're really going to see it next year. Okay. I'm just letting y'all know right now. You have Saturn in Cancer, Saturn in Capricorn. You are going through a Saturn square. Very important. Okay. A Saturn square could feel like a Saturn return. All right. The Saturn opposition can feel worse than Saturn return. If you have Saturn in Libra and Saturn's going through Aries now, the Saturn opposition could be even worse than the Saturn return. Okay. It could be a rough patch. I'm just going to let you know. I've seen this in my own work. Okay. You always want to track where Saturn is at in relation to your own natal Saturn, because that's you're transiting Saturn in relation to your natal Saturn could be very difficult or very hard. All right. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. All right. I'm just gonna let you know. Okay. Doesn't have to be bad, but it can be about shifts and changes with Saturn things, with commitments, with career direction and stuff like that. Challenges with family, losses with family. I will tell you, if you're someone that has Saturn in Cancer or Capricorn and Saturn is going through Aries, this can be about your ancestry changing. This can be about elders passing. This could also be about, but it could also be about you buying a home and you settling down and you committing to a live location or some kind of expansion or growth when it comes to career, if you've been working really hard at it, right? Or a career direction, a change in a career direction in some type of way. It doesn't have to be bad, but it will be challenging. Saturn square is a difficult one. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, right? The squares and the oppositions, they force us to do things. They put us through situations that many times can be out of our control. All right. Just gonna be honest with you guys. Life is not easy. Life is not all peachy. Life is not always creamy and stuff like this. We got to be realistic, you guys. Okay. Sometimes we wanna just like keep our head in the sand and avoid the harsh realities of life, and that's exactly what Saturn is about. The harsh realities of life. Always keep that in mind. Don't be afraid. Just be honest and realistic and understand life is gonna life. And isn't it better to be aware and be prepared so that you can deal with it when it comes, right? Instead of being in like raw dogging life like most people do. I think that's the beauty of astrology, is that it gives us awareness and we can anticipate how things are going to manifest so that we can prepare how we're going to respond, and we can at least have that mental awareness, right? We know that a hard aspect or a hard transit is coming. Well, guess what? This is where it can show up in your life. It usually will show up in that area of your life, right? And then you know how to proceed because you were anticipating that transit, right? It's a beautiful thing. Awareness is empowerment. Awareness is empowerment. Okay. Sometimes you may even be able to avoid it because Saturn will show you, oh, this thing is coming. And you're like, oh, no, it's in you. You already see they started laying people off of your job 2 years ago, a year ago. You're like, oh, what's that mean? They're laying people closer and closer to your position off. Saturn is showing you, okay, you're having a Saturn square Saturn aspect. You know that layoffs are happening at your job. You know that your company just got bought out by another company. And then you're like, oh no, it's okay. I'm gonna be fine. And Saturn's already showing. Get the resume ready. Have a backup plan. Have another job lined up just in case. So that if during a Saturn transit, you don't get all of a sudden you get fired, you get laid off. And Saturn was showing you for the last 2 years, year and a half, year, 6 months, that job was coming to an end or that you were at risk. And you were just head in the sand, not paying attention, not listening to what the planets were showing you. Because they tell you that it will come to, let me tell you, because Saturn is about endings. Saturn cuts off life. He's the reaper. Okay. He decides when things grow, when it's a time, it's like there's a time. What does he say? There's a time to live and there's a time to die. Right? There's a time to harvest and there's a time to reap. This is it's in the Bible. Okay. so it's something that I want you guys to be aware of, is like you gotta use the power of astrology is foresight. The gift of astrology is foresight, is being able to anticipate and see things that will happen, even if they're beautiful and amazing, but also if they're hard or difficult, just so that you can be prepared. And I think that's the most empowering thing about astrology, is like, that, and this is, listen, I'm speaking from experience in my own life. Okay. I'm speaking from experience in my own life. And this is how I use astrology in my own life. I'm like, oh, I see a transit is coming. I'm like, okay, well, let me start. I see a health thing is coming. All right, let me start taking care of myself. Let me change my habits. Let me change my diet. Let me start going to the gym. Let me start working out so that transit that I know is coming in 2026. I'm talking to myself right now because I know that I'm having a difficult transit in 2026. I know that that's coming and I know what that could be. And I want to avoid that in every way possible. So let me start working on myself, right? Just in case. Because, right, you could see it coming. You could see it coming. It's the gift of astrology. Just want to let you guys know that, okay? Doesn't mean that we move in fear, okay? Doesn't mean that we go ahead and experience astrology through the lens of fear. That doesn't mean that we, become inhibited and stop living life. No, what it means is that we become empowered and that we use the wisdom of the stars, right? Which is going to um, give us the gift of foresight to anticipate challenges and hardship so that when we experience that transit, it can be the most easy and graceful possible, that it doesn't have to manifest as the absolute worst case scenario. Okay. So the transit that I'm talking about for myself is Saturn opposite Mars. I have Mars in Libra in the 8th house, and Saturn in Aries is going to oppose my Mars next year. That's what I'm talking about for me. Okay. And I already know what that could be based off my astrological knowledge. I already know what that could be. So, all right, let's get back to the planets. Let's get back to the transits. Okay. I want to wrap this up. I think we're about an hour and a half in. I kind of want to cap these at 2 hours. Saturn opposite Mars is not a nice one, especially between the 2nd and the 8th. Oh, no, 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 Jesus. Help me, God. Save me, Jesus. That's what I'm talking about for me. All right, let's go ahead and keep going. Let me go. So let's talk about the moon in Scorpio on Friday. So the moon goes into her fallen state in Scorpio. We don't like, I just, I don't like the moon. I just don't like moon in Scorpio transits. I don't. I'm not a fan. I swear, like the most destructive things happen when the moon goes through Scorpio. It's just something that I've noticed because she goes into her fall in Scorpio. The good thing is that she's being supported by the Jupiter. Okay, okay, that's not that bad. We have Moon trine Jupiter and Moon trine the Sun. So and she's also sextiling Mars. We actually have a beautiful we have Sun, we have Moon trine Sun Jupiter. We have Moon sextile Mars on Friday. Scorpio is a sign of transformation, endings, connect to endings, death, trauma, hardship, difficulty. The moon, why is the moon fallen in Scorpio? Well, because Scorpio has a lot to do with the very toxic, unhealthy water element things that we go through, right? Scorpio is a sign that's connected to, it's ruled by Mars. It's the only water sign that is ruled by a malefic, right? Cancer is ruled by the moon, one of the luminaries, right? The moon, mother, family, nurturing, our childhood, innocence, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion and growth and luck and blessings, where Scorpio is the one water sign ruled by a malefic, Mars, right? And so with Mars, we get all the negative, toxic water element experiences. So Scorpio is about betrayal, jealousy, vengeance, trauma, pain, emotional woundedness, right? Like all the things, all the kind of relational things that we experience that are difficult and emotional at the same time, right? Anger, rage, with Scorpio moon. I don't know if you've ever met anybody with the Scorpio moon or Scorpio Mars, but when they get mad, they hold it in they'll hold it in for a while. But then when you push them over the edge, oh Lord Jesus. Because Scorpio, I think of Scorpio as a volcano, right? Scorpio is like the fire underneath the water. Because Scorpio's Mars, right, is a fiery planet. And so Mars is ruled by planet. Mars is the Scorpio is the feminine side of Mars, right? So Mars rules Aries and Mars rules the sign of Scorpio. So I like to think of Scorpio as the volcano underneath the ocean, the lava underneath the ocean. And what Scorpio does, you'll see with Scorpio people, especially Scorpio moons, they hold on to their emotions and the anger and the rage and the pain until they explode. And once they explode and they get mad, you better get out their way. If they're going to say things, they're going to do things, that are going to hit deep. Okay. Because their goal is to hurt you the way that you have hurt them. And they want to make you feel the pain that they feel. Okay. So, with the moon going through Scorpio on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, just watch how you're moving. There may be some family arguments, some family fights that we get into, you know. I also will say, if you have a wounded family complex, you got a wounded mother, a wounded father complex. If hold on, let me wash my hands really quick. So I'm going to ignore those. It, watch, just be mindful. If you're going to be around your family, you know your mother and your father are triggering for you. You know that, you know, you guys are gonna, they talk politics, you guys disagree on politics, disagree on beliefs. You know, you haven't forgiven them yet for the way that they raised you. You know, like you're mad at them for shit that happened 20, 30 years ago. Okay. Just be mindful with the moon in Scorpio, because the moon in Scorpio can bring up all this ish from the past. Okay. That you've been wanting to. Mercury's in Leo now. Okay. I want you to think about this. Someone said, do you think it's the same if you have a Scorpio degree moon, like a Virgo moon, Scorpio? Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. If you have anything at Scorpio degrees, which is 8 degrees, 8, 20. 8 and 20 are the Scorpio degrees. If you have anything at 8 or 20 degrees, you have a Scorpio degree planet, baby, you have that relationship with that planet. For sure. You got trauma with that planet in some type of way. And you internalize experiences with that planet, you know. I also see this with people that have Venus at 20 degrees or Venus at 8 degrees. They have a Scorpio degree Venus. They experience betrayals, you know, they internalize relationship experiences, they're obsessive when it comes to relationships. Yep, that's a Scorpio. I'm talking about I have Scorpio. I have a 22-degree Venus in Scorpio. Let me talk when it comes to obsession, relationship obsession. Is why I've been single for so long, because I can't do it no more. I can't do it no more. Are we back? Is it are we back? Is it better? Is it lagging anymore or no? My Instagram people, it's lagging for my Instagram people. Is it lagging? I turned on the Wi-Fi. Okay, yeah, I don't know why the Wi-Fi was off, so I turned on the Wi-Fi. So but like I was saying, you know, Scorpio degree people, they we tend to internalize and obsess and dramatize, and there's a lot of drama that happens with when you have Scorpio degree stuff. So what's making it even more intense with the moon in Scorpio on the 4th of July, what's making it even more intense is that the moon is squaring Pluto and the moon is squaring Mercury in Leo. So Mercury in Leo is, you know what? There's some shit that I gotta say, and I'm gonna fucking say it. I don't care what you think. I've been holding this is in Leo's the heart. This has been in my heart, and I've been holding on to this. And now I'm feeling courageous and brave, another Leo thing, and I need to say it. I need to let it off my chest. This is Friday, July 4th. I'm looking at the moon in Scorpio at 3 degrees at 10 a.m. in the morning. Move squaring Pluto at 3 degrees. And then by the afternoon, the moon by evening time, by around 5, 6 p.m. on Friday, on July 4th, the moon is squaring Mercury in Leo. that evening. And I know some of y'all are going to be drinking that day, and some of y'all are mad at your mom or your dad, you're mad at your family, you're mad at your spouse, you're mad at somebody. Some of y'all are mad. Venus goes into justice at 0 degrees Gemini. Venus is also in a sign of communication and talking and relationship and like, I don't know. This is kind of giving a little, it's giving drama. I think it's fun. I think there's a protective energy. I think Jupiter trining the moon is giving us permission to forgive. Jupiter trining the moon is about fun and celebration and joy. I think the sun and Jupiter trining the moon is like maybe even people intervening and being like, it's okay, it's gonna be fine. Or people apologizing, parents apologizing, or some kind of deep emotional reconciliation or something if there's any tension with communication. But I will say that I think Friday, 4th of July, especially if you're in the States, I think it's gonna be a little dramatic. And Mercury and Leo, someone's gotta be dramatic with Mercury and Leo. Someone's gotta bring the drama. Whenever we got Leo active in the sky, there's an aunt, an uncle, a sibling, a cut. Mercury's an aunt, an uncle, sibling, or a cousin, or a neighbor, okay, or a coworker. That's gonna be very dramatic, okay. With the moon in Scorpio squaring Mercury and squaring Pluto on Friday. Last 4th of July, my friend got into a fist fight with her family. That's what this is giving, honestly. That's what this is giving. This astrology is kind of giving, we're throwing bows. But we have a way out though, We have Moon trine Sun Jupiter. We have Moon sextile Mars. So I think people are getting mad or irritated also about what people forgot or people didn't bring. Like if we're having like a cookout or if we're having like a potluck, someone forgot to bring something and we're mad at them, you know. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Moon in Scorpio is gonna be, I think Moon in Scorpio on Friday is gonna be a little rough. But it's also feeling good. It's also fun because it's Moon trine Sun and Moon trine Jupiter, which is amazing. And and the moon's actually making a beautiful sextile to Mars. So this is like fun, productive, you know, um, joyous, celebratory. It's feeling good though. But it's just that Mercury Pluto squaring. This could also be about, oh, you know what this could also be about? This could also be about protesting. Mercury opposite Pluto and Aquarius has been about protesting. Have you guys seen that around the world? There's been like a lot of pride celebrations. I think one was in Bangladesh, and there's one in a South American country as well, where they've been doing pride protests because the government, um, yeah, in Budapest. So there was a Budapest Pride where tons of people showed up to protest because I guess like in Budapest. Look at this. Pride in peril. Toronto police Gaza protesters 3 days ago. Mercury's opposite Pluto and Aquarius. This is about protesting. The people wanting to protest and take to the streets. Mercury and Leo is like, we got to express ourselves. We got something to say. Pluto and Aquarius is about protesting. Aquarius is the sign of rebellion, right? What's unfair. And Aquarius is like groups of people gathering. And so this Mercury Pluto opposition, that we've had in the sky, it's like people are feeling the need to protest. Um, but yeah, in Budapest had its largest turnout, even though it's been banned for 20 something years. Yeah, it is Hungary I think it's because the president, right? Or their elected official or whoever they call that guy. He's very anti-LGBT and they had like tons of people show up. Oh, it's because there's legislation that prohibits LGBT events nationwide. Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Yeah. It was one of the biggest shows of opposition against Viktor Orban. People came from 30 different countries to protest the ban on LGBT pride celebration in Hungary. And this happened in, it's very Mercury opposite Pluto. So I'm thinking with the moon squaring Mercury and the moon squaring Pluto on Fridays, I think there's going to be like 4th of July protests. I think people are going to be protest or even going into the weekend. I feel like there's going to be people protesting like Donald Trump, people protesting the war or any kind of war stuff, or people protesting ICE. There's going to be protests this weekend for sure. And there may be people like kind of crashing some of the 4th of July celebrations this weekend. So just watch out for that. If you are going to be out in public celebrating, well, you could be joining a protest, okay? You could be a part of it, but there could also be people crashing, kind of like protest crashing celebrations and things like that this weekend. With the moon squaring Mercury and the moon squaring Pluto. Okay. This weekend. Right, so yeah, but the moon, we love this though. We love the sun trying the moon, and we love the Jupiter trying the moon. It's also very expansive, very blessed. This is also very social. Venus is moving into Gemini, and she's moving to that sextile with Mercury. So I think this is also about meeting new people. The No King protesters said they would protest for the 4th of July again. Okay, yeah. That's not surprising. Yeah, this is definitely gonna be a weekend of people protesting. Um, Pay attention to who you meet, my loves. Okay. Venus is trining Pluto. Venus is separating from Uranus. So I feel like this is a very, very, this upcoming weekend is very active and very busy. And even going into next week, I feel like we're just meeting new people. We're meeting strangers, we're expanding our social circle. We're feeling more flirtatious with Venus and Gemini. You know, Venus is also bringing some kind of beauty, some kind of harmony, some kind of balance, some kind of healing, relief. She's bringing some kind of grace. I love Venus. I love like the word grace when talking about Venus, because Venus is about grace. She's about ease. She's about beautification. She enhances things. She makes things feel more easy, right? She simplifies things. She also brings like harmony, peace, and justice. So, Venus moving into Gemini, your Gemini house, you know, I really do feel that if you have been having issues or troubles around your Gemini house, Gemini season left it a mess, okay? And you're in recovery still with your Gemini house in some type of way. Venus is bringing some kind of beautification. She's bringing some kind of harmony, some kind of peace, some kind of grace to your Gemini house. If you're an air sign, you can meet someone new, or a fire sign as well, because Venus, she is opposing Sag, and she's sextiling Leo and Aries, and she's making a conjunction with Gemini. She's also trining Aquarius and Libra. So if you're a fire and air sign, you guys are going to be feeling more social with Venus and Gemini. You're going to be feeling more active, more inspired, more motivated. You're going to be feeling this urge to like meet new people. Aquarius, man, Aquarius rising. Venus is entering your 5th house of love and romance and dating. So, Aquarius, and if you're a Libra, it's probably vacationing and traveling, or you getting back into school and learning something new. Venus going into your 9th, you getting a female mentor, a female coach, you getting a female lawyer, because you got to take your baby daddy to court, Libra, since Saturn is in your 7th house. You're taking somebody to court. Libra is taking somebody to court with Saturn in the 7th. They're mad. They need to hold somebody accountable. Okay. Um, or they're taking their job, their previous employer, to court. Okay, for discrimination. Libra is a sign that's always dealing with discrimination. Libra, why are you discriminating against me? Okay, it's a Libra thing. And Aquarius too. Aquarius and Libra are always signs that are getting discriminated against. They're walking, talking discriminations. Aquarius, I don't listen, y'all. Okay, y'all, you were born to be discriminated against. I don't know what to tell you. Welcome to Earth. Okay, welcome to being an Aquarius. Also, Capricorn's another one. Don't discriminate against an Aquarius or Capricorn. Don't do it. Okay, don't do it. You're gonna those karmic retributions are not gonna be nice. You're gonna have to pay them a lot of money for this. There's a price that comes there's a price for discriminating against Libra, Capricorn, and Aquarius. You don't get to discriminate against these signs for free. Okay. It'll cost you a heavy penny. All right. Someone said, literally, the get back is serious. It is. Someone said, literally, my entire being. Serious. I'm so sick of it. Born to be discriminated against. I don't know what to tell you. You gotta talk to God about that one. Why you chose this path. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But here you are. Okay. A walking, talking, targeted discrimination. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, but I'm not because it's also something that it's, these karmic patterns, these karmic things that follow the signs. It's rough. I know it's rough out there. I'm an Aquarius rising in Vedic, so I understand. Okay. I understand. I know I know. Believe me, I know. Okay. Um, But yeah, my loves. So yeah, Venus and Gemini. I'm like, how did we get here? I had to like retrace my steps. So yeah, Venus and Gemini, socializing, having fun, partying, celebrating. Also a lot of short distance travel. So we're gonna be seeing with Venus and Gemini from July 4th to July 30th. A lot of people are going on little mini vacations. Like you're going to your local water park, you're going to Disneyland, you're going to these little parties at the park, or you're going to little get-togethers, you're going to visit your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, you're having a little celebration at your job, you're driving to a new city, a new town. Someone said, is now a good time to move? Yes, now is a good time to move. A lot of people have been moving. You were seeing a lot of people moving on the first. A lot of people, new foundations, fresh new start, new beginnings. It's new moon in Cancer, right? It's a new moon in Cancer. Someone said, ask me, are you reconsidering Hawaii for Bali from your card pool? Yeah, I'm moving to Bali. I'm moving to Bali. It feels so right. God, it feels so right. Hawaii is just like, I'm not going far enough. I feel it so deeply. Like, I need to be on the other side of the world. I need to be in another time zone. Honestly, the expansion and growth that has come to me from just going into Bali one time, like the people that I've met and the opportunities that have come my way from going to Bali, it's still having an echo effect in my life a few years later. So I know for a fact that I need to get out of this country, and I know for a fact that I need to move to Bali. And I'm going to be able to do so much more, you know? Um, I just know it. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my guts. Just know it's the right thing to do. My dad's here. So, all right, my loves. You guys have a beautiful, blessed day. We're going to be wrapping up the moon in Scorpio throughout the weekend. And then the moon's going to be in Scorpio Saturday, Sunday. And then we wake up on Monday and we pick up with our week ahead astrology on Monday with the moon going into Sagittarius. Okay. But I love you all. Thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and post this on my YouTube as well. Okay. So if you guys want to go and watch this back on YouTube, you can do that. The moon's going to be a Scorpio all weekend though. Okay. So keep that in mind. Maybe a little bit of a dramatic weekend. Okay. A lot of powerful emotions coming up, a lot of sexual passions coming up. Mars and Virgo, a lot of drama coming up, maybe Mercury and Leo. Okay. But I love you all. Mwah. Thank you for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and post this right away. And I'm gonna be on a boat as of tomorrow. So don't call me, don't text me, don't DM me, don't ask me no fucking questions. Okay, because I'm not available. I'm closed for business. Okay, I'm gonna be on my way to Cabo and Ensenada come tomorrow this time. All right. I'm going on my first cruise, so I'm really excited. I've never been on a cruise before, so I'm going on my first cruise with my bestie for her birthday. It's her birthday tomorrow. She's a Cancer, right? And what better way to celebrate your birthday than being on a boat and leaving for a cruise? That's such like Sun conjunct Jupiter on your birthday, you know? So cool. I love astrology. Mwah. Thank you, my loves. Everybody that bought a badge, thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. And I will see you guys. I'll be giving you guys the update from the boat as well, but I will see you guys when I see you. Okay? I love you all so much. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Take care of yourselves. Be well. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and post this right away. So if you guys want to go back and watch it, I'm also gonna go ahead and upload this onto my Instagram or onto my YouTube. Okay. All right. Well, love you. Bye.
What are you doing?
Just wrapping up a live. Hold on. Let me
Oh, nice. I didn't see it.
hold on. Let me get off.
Oh, guess what? We could go visit Kobe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we're gonna go visit him. Louis, Louis. Aiden should be here about 5:30.